Print on demand is one of the biggest industries on Etsy, taking the process of shipping inventory and holding physical stock out of the equation. And this is an extremely valuable service for artists who specialize in a craft. I mean, think about it. You'll likely never be able to get your hands on an original Picasso or a Kincaid, but you can get these famous artists' work printed on canvases, cards, or other physical merchandise, which is ultimately why Etsy allows POD on their platform in the first place. With that in mind, YouTube is saturated with pie-in-the-sky videos that make it seem like anyone can become a passive income millionaire by listing a few POD shirts on Etsy. So today, I'm lifting the curtain on POD by sharing a few of the common lies and misconceptions about POD that many gurus are trying to illustrate. That way, you can build more realistic expectations for your growth and success. For anyone who may be new here, my name is Starla, founder of the Handmade Alpha Academy for Etsy sellers and manager at erank.com, Etsy's most popular SEO tool. And over the last few years, POD has become an easy option for sellers who want to expand their offerings without the stress of printing and shipping products. Sites like Redbubble even take the customer service aspect out of the equation entirely by allowing sellers to upload their art, select the products to print on, and bam! Even my 14-year-old daughter runs a Redbubble shop for her art. However, the idea that print on demand is an easy way to make money is a bit delusional for those who assume that their Etsy shop is going to be a passive income source. And that's because Etsy isn't passive. It takes a lot of time and hard work. But unfortunately, many sellers don't include all of the struggles when outlining their outrageous success stories, leading genuinely talented newbies to assume that their art just isn't good enough, which isn't always the case. So let's deep dive into a few of the common misconceptions I see posted within the Printify community, as well as here on YouTube. That way you can set more realistic expectations for your business and hopefully bypass some of the common mistakes that I see sellers making when starting their POD shops. When it comes to listing items on Etsy, there is no magic number. If it isn't listed, it won't sell. Which is why I roll my eyes literally every single time that I hear YouTube gurus preaching about listing 100 new items a day or needing to have a specific number of listings in your shop to be successful. As someone who works for Etsy's largest SEO integration and who studies Etsy's algorithm, I can confirm that there's absolutely no magic number when it comes to listings. And the assumption that more equals better is akin to saying that buying more lottery tickets will increase the odds that you'll win. Of course, adding as many listings into your shop increases the potential that one might eventually stick, but it's also ensuring that you're gonna be racking up listing fees, hours, and hard work, all for designs that might not even sell. Instead of spending all your time throwing spaghetti at the wall, I highly recommend focusing on quality over quantity, because it's not just a listing counting algorithm who dictates whether or not you'll be successful on Etsy. It's the living, breathing humans who see your items and who make a conscious decision to retrieve their credit card if they want your item badly enough. When it comes to success on Etsy, quality wins over quantity, and there is no right number of listings or a set minimum number of listings that you need to be successful. When it comes to print on demand on Etsy, their creative policy defines items designed by a seller as a seller's original designs that are produced or printed by a third party or offered as a digital download. The key phrase here is designed by a seller. This means that sellers who grab as-is designs from platforms like Creative Fabrica and slap them on shirts or mugs are technically violating Etsy's creativity standards. Etsy wants to ensure that sellers have a hand in creating their products. This means that you cannot buy a completed design, stick it on a shirt, and sell it. You can, however, use a site like Canva to combine multiple elements together to create an original and new new design, because this results in an original design that no other seller will likely be offering. This is one of the biggest contributors leading to POD sellers being suspended on Etsy, because Etsy's image recognition system is able to identify the exact same designs used across multiple shops. Remember, POD on Etsy is meant to allow artists to distribute their work more easily. If you have zero hand in the design, creation, or shipping of your item, Etsy really isn't intended for your business model. Instead, alternatives like your own website, TikTok Shop, or even Amazon may be more realistic options. IP law violations are the #1 reason POD sellers are permanently banned on Etsy. Regardless of what anyone says, you legally cannot sell anything on Etsy, or anywhere else for that matter, that contains copyright or trademark material. This includes references or imagery from TV shows, movies, video games, brands, celebrities, politicians, song lyrics, books, logos, essentially anything that you did not invent within your own brain. And yes, this includes things like fan art. If any element of the product can be recognized for a larger piece of IP, you can't sell it. And this isn't just an Etsy rule. It's the law. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, if IP violating items aren't allowed on Etsy, why do so many exist? As of right now, Etsy's policies state that IP infringing items cannot be sold. When it comes to reporting and removing these items, only the owner of the intellectual property in question can claim and request the removal of that intellectual property. Etsy provides a reporting portal for brands to do so, which is the legal extent of their obligation. In order for Etsy to apply a widespread initiative of removing infringing items, Etsy would need to open the floodgates of responsibility over all IP listed on the platform. This means that they don't have the ability to just remove Disney items or just remove Marvel items. Etsy would have to take on the responsibility of removing all IP violating items, making them liable for anything not removed under this legal responsibility. And since new intellectual property is created, copyrighted, and trademarked every single day, there's absolutely no way that this could be done effectively. In short, Etsy can't pick and choose what to protect. In the realm of legal responsibility, Etsy can either take down all IP, which means an algorithm would have to learn what items are and are not applicable under that trademark. Trust me, not something that we want. Or Etsy can do what they're currently doing, which is what is legally required of them: to provide an accessible resource for IP owners to file reports. The best way to stay safe? Don't toe the line. If your design can be recognized for a piece of IP, it's not safe to use. Every week, I see horror stories from new POD sellers who are going into the red with Etsy ads, just hoping eventually their listings will take off. Y'all, burning cash to keep warm is never a good strategy, especially if you don't already have a solid proof of concept. This basically means having an item that's already tested and proven to work. Because I could show a big pile of doggy doo to a million people. Doesn't mean that anyone will want to buy it, even if I've gotten that doggy doo a ton of exposure by advertising it. Instead of stretching a thin ads budget across your entire shop, my advice is to always bet on your winning racehorses. If you're at a horse race trying to decide which horse to bet money on, you likely aren't going to pick the horse who has never won a race before. You're going to pick the horse with the best track record, the horse who is known for winning races. Your best sellers are your winning racehorses. They've already proven themselves by catching the attention of buyers, which means that we have a proof of concept. We know that these are the items that customers already love. So by putting a little bit of money behind the items that are already doing well, we're taking those winners and showing them to more people who may be interested in buying them. If you've been following my channel for a while, you likely already know that I'm a huge fan of niching, but over the years, tons of sellers have asked me why niching is so important. Why is niching better than making a little bit of everything? And are you limiting yourself by choosing a single specific niche? While niching is important, most sellers are confused about what it actually means to choose a niche, or they confuse an industry with a niche. For example, shirts is not a niche. Shirts is an industry. A niche might be shirts for pet parents. Mugs is not a niche, it's an industry. A niche might be mugs for elementary school teachers. A niche points to a very specific type of product for a very specific type of person. And in a busy marketplace with millions of competitive sellers, having a defined niche can help you to stand out in more saturated industries like mugs and shirts. So if you're a POD seller who isn't selling, it may be time to take a look at your entire shop overall. Ask yourself, who are my items for? What is the unique theme, niche, or subject of my shop that would appeal to this ideal type of shopper? And my personal favorite, could I picture someone getting a tattoo of this theme? Which sounds crazy, but think about it. Would you get a mug tattoo? Probably not. Which means a mug isn't a niche. It's a canvas for your niche. Now, if you were to print a chihuahua on that mug because your goal is to create an entire shop for chihuahua owners, this would be a more focused target. Plus, it passes the tattoo test because people love getting tattoos of their dogs. As I mentioned before, discovering profitable niches is important for success in any industry, especially POD. So before I share my biggest POD fail, I do want to remind you guys that my March Trends Digest includes 50 high opportunity keywords across multiple niches, all backed by real search data, competition gaps, and buyer behavior notes. And I release a new digest every single month on my Patreon, which is the only place in the world where you can access lists like these because no other Etsy YouTubers are crazy enough to spend 12 consecutive hours researching trends like a lunatic. What can I say? I like numbers. And I only charge $5 a month for these with my Trend Tracker Patreon tier. That's just $5 for literal hours of research done for you. I'll have the link up here and down below. So if you're a seller who's tired of throwing spaghetti at the wall, I'm here to help make the process of finding trends a little less painful. Lastly, and most controversial, are mock-ups. Ugly, boring, irrelevant mock-ups. I think a lot of POD sellers miss the purpose of a mock-up, which is ultimately to be good enough and realistic enough that the shopper doesn't know that they're looking at a mock-up. But when I go to Etsy and see this, I mean, it's pretty darn clear that this lady isn't posing for all of these shops. Alternatively, I also see sellers who grab the plain Jane white background mock-ups directly from their print provider and slap them right into their listings, which may work for platforms like Amazon, but on Etsy, shoppers have come to expect a more stylized experience, and Etsy expects it too, which is why you never see white background mock-ups in any of Etsy's featured product sections or their editorials. And I get it, shooting your own photos is always the best option, but it isn't the easiest, fastest, cheapest, or the most realistic for a new seller. But what you can do is create your own styled mockups with a site like Canva. All you have to do is download your generic mockups from your provider like Printify, upload them into Canva, remove the background with their background remover tool if the background isn't transparent already, then drop in a fun and stylized background that actually fits your niche. This will ensure that every single mock-up in your shop is unique, and it'll also ensure that no other Etsy sellers will have the same images. Oh, and not to toot my own horn, but I also provide a pack of these mock-ups every single month on my Patreon to my Alpha Insider tier, in case you need help coming up with ideas. Just saying. Until next time, Pookie.